Well, this has been a bright and sunny day here in Fuji. It's nice to return here at this racetrack here since we last raced here in March here for Split B. And speaking of Split B, we are now here for round 7 of the 2022 Hololive GT3 Japan Series, where we'll be racing 15 more cars from the Split B at here in Fuji Speedway. And as always, we're going to be taking a look into the track map here. We're talking about a track of 4.5 kilometers in length, a total track width of 50 to 25 meters. 4 wide racing, of course, has been possible here. We've seen 4 wide racing on lap 2 back here in race 1 back in last March. 16 corners in total. We have 6 to the left, 10 to the right. We'll have 22 total lap counts for both races. Now, of course, we did mention that we have 2 wins for Lexus before this round 7, but now we wanted to null that thing away because now Honda has 3 wins in this track here in Fuji. Because Hololive won that race, won his first race in March back in Fuji when he was driving the number 8 Akai Hato Honda. And then Sean Pauli showed everyone the class of the field by basically sweeping Split A round 7 with the number 56 Inugami Corny Honda, winning both races in the process. And we're going to be taking a look into a lap time of a 139.525. As for the championship context here in Split B, it's way different from when we left Fuji. Now entering Fuji for the second time here this year, we're looking at Vladislav Domaschnev finally taking the lead of the championship after round 6 in the number 90 Akirose to the Lexus. Callum Gibbons holds on steady in the top 5 of the championship, being one of the class of the field. He's only 12 points behind Vladislav Domaschnev. It's basically it's anyone's championship for the taking at this point. Thomas Snooks in the number 43 Shishiro Botan is not far behind with 124 points. There's Fumai, who was the championship leader since the start of the championship, is now back in 4th place after a poor run in rounds 5 and 6. Azab remains consistent at number 18 Akiri Ayame as his previous driver in the number 18 car, that is Callum Gibbons. Matthews Juan Deporte, of course, have won a race in Hall GT3 back in round 6. He now sits 340 points. Catherine Vasilyev in the number 11 Osaka Pecora Honda, 280 points. Owens Harto in the Chardonnay Flair Nissan in the number 20 car, 247 points. And then there's the rest of the field, and Rahim Bayev in 9th, Pakri Kamal in 10th, Sergei Petrov in 11th, Kaczynski 12th, Casio 13th, Santini 14th, and rounding out the 15 car field, Kizaru Leo stands at 15th place in the number 40 Murasaki Gion Honda. We could be seeing some kind of rebound from him later on. We'll wait and see. Anyways, welcome to the stream here in Hall GT3. My name is Muhammad Shahin Riza, and of course, I was about to expect an open booth here in Hall GT3 with all of the participants here, but sometimes it just was not meant to be. But at the very least, alongside me in the commentary booth is Callum Gibbons. And now, a bit of a backstory here, a bit of a commiserations for everyone back in Octane Online Racing. They were supposed to host a 7 hours of Zolder, but of course that didn't really happen because of DDoS attacks in Assetto Corsa Competizione that also unfortunately affected Octane Online Racing's racing services. And so my heart goes out to everyone in Octane Online Racing and the SRO for wanting to organize races in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but have been frequently hit by DDoS attacks. So for Kudo Simulazioni, who the ones who made Assetto Corsa and their adaptation, which is Assetto Corsa Competizione, I will heavily advise the developers at Kunos to sort out these problems right away, so that everyone can have problem-free races in Assetto Corsa Competizione specifically. Now, for one of the drivers here, Callum Gibbons, he is here in the commentary booth. So, Gibbo, mind if you want to share your thoughts on both the DDoS attack and round 7?
Yeah, so as for what happened at OOR, so that's, well, obviously real players taking part in racing, and it was meant to be part of our opening round for our new endurance season as well. So it's a new format, obviously a multi-driver series, so tens, even hundreds of hours of preparation went into that, both from drivers, administration, commentators, etc. And unfortunately, with all the DDoS problems that have been affecting Assetto Corsa Competizione, it just didn't happen. Like, we raced for about it was about an hour, half an hour, and then we had the first DDoS attacks, then the server went down. we tried restarting, and then about an hour and a half in we got hit again, and at that point we decided to cancel the event and all results are void. So very unfortunate. That's going to possibly put our events on hold until this is sorted out. But anyway, not to dwell on that too much longer, we're obviously here for Hololive GT3, so good to be back in Fuji. Obviously, as you said, we're back in Fuji in round 1, and that was a bit more unexpected in terms of we were expecting the Honda and Nissan to perform greater over the Lexus, but it was actually Lexus that ended up picking some of the wins that time around. So this time around, we did see Sean Paul in Split A sweep Split A as well, so see if that Honda momentum still translates into Split B, but we'll wait and see.
Yes, but speaking of Split A, we wanted to mention of the results here in the Split A races for both races 3 and 4. Sean Pauli won both races. Yoser Hernandez was runner-up in both of the races despite starting on the pole. So if you want to have a good shot in winning a race, you better have to start from second place on the grid, because usually the pole sitter back in Fuji does not translate to a race win out over the last 6 races that we have done here so far, at least the 6 points paying races here so far. And as for third place, Daniel Bolotev, who was in the commentary booth yesterday, he finished third in race 3, but ended up being a non-factor in race 4. Eventually Kento Shiden in his final race in Hololive GT3 before handing over the reins to Lorenzo Ricci, manages to score a podium for a Nissan. So whatever the case is, it's not all gloom and doom for all the other manufacturers trying to have a shot in winning this race, or at least scoring a podium. And now we're going on board with the number 40 car, the Murasaki Shion Honda, driven by Kizuhara Leo. Gibbo, how about a lap in here in Fuji in this car?
Indeed, so obviously setting yourself up on the final corner, Panasonic corner, get yourself a good run out here. Very long straight, I think probably the longest front straight we have in the series potentially. So obviously maxing out to top speed here, heading towards 280 kilometers an hour, obviously 6th gear, then hard braking into the first corner. Keeps it nice and tucked in, get it stopped up nicely. Using that exit curve as well, try and keep up that momentum. End to 4, heading to Coca-Cola corner now for turn 3, so it's sort of a medium speed corner, so making use of that downforce that the car can generate to keep up the momentum there. And then for 100R, long right hander puts all the load on the left hand side tyres. A little bit squirrely on entry, but still keeping it mostly tidy now, heading into the hairpin, hard braking zone, low speed corner, 2nd gear. Still keeping it mostly tidy all together. 4th gear, now 300R, and now approaching towards a more technical section of Sector 3, where we did see the Lexus tends to favour here with its cornered ability. So we'll see what the Honda can do here. Still keeps it nice in there, taking a lot of curb, so you want to be careful there. Don't want to bottom out the car and unstable yourself, but still 1 minute 8 for the 2nd sector, 5/10 off, so not really up there at the moment. Now heading towards turns 14 and 15, wide approach, keep it nice and tucked in and on the exit, and heading towards the final corner once again a wide entry. Now's the apex, and then back onto the long front straight. So 139.7 aiming for here. We did see it was about 5/10 off head to sector 2. So looking at a midfield position here for his first Baker lap. We'll see 34, 5, 6. A few more seconds now. We'll see what he gets. 40.4. So 7/10 off the pace, and not exactly ideal.
Not exactly ideal for Kizuhara Leo there. For the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda, currently sitting last in the championship standings here. Here's one of the drivers who's starting heads right now. Putri Farah Kamal, number 63 Yukihana Lami Honda, currently sets the provisional pole time of 139.755. Great stuff from her so far. The fastest Nissan, Hofumai, is currently challenging for pole position here. We're trying to look into some of the gaps here. Here's one of the new features we're looking at right now. 140.001 for Hofumai. Let's see if Fumai can improve right now. Where will he stand? No improvements here. 4/10 behind. Looks like we're not going to be seeing much improvement for some of these drivers here. Santini is back inside in 10th place. Rakim Bayev is currently sitting 3rd. Very respectable job from the Kazakh. Vlasa Domaschnev, championship leader, is currently qualified well down at 9th. Make that 6th place. And Deporto actually qualifies 4th, bumps some drivers down a spot or 2. Domaschnev, one of the championship contenders, is in 11th place. Sergei Petrov is looking to find some form here ever since he joins all GT3. No improvement. There is improvement, but it's not enough for him to bump other drivers out. Suharto qualifies 12th. There's Kazuhara Leo. Here's the number 40 Honda. Let's see if he improves there over his banker lap. Obviously, he has shown some kind of pace there in the practice session, but that doesn't translate well into qualifying. Improves. Now Leo is up to 9th.
Yeah, good second lap there, so much improvement there. Still 5/10 up, but still a decent midfield position. And we still see Gibbo going back in the pits as well, not going to improve there. I think Domaschnev might still be out on track as well, so he might still be able to improve. Snook's also way down as well, so the championship battles are a bit scattered at the moment.
Yes, a bit scattered, and it's anyone's championship for the taking here at this point of the season. Vasilyev improves. She's now up to 8th place. We're looking at some of the other drivers here. Azad is currently sitting 5th in Split B at the moment. Azad does not improve. He qualifies 14th. Here is Fumai once again. No improvements here. Loses quite some time there. There's a bit of that tire fall off there. Here's Raji Kaczynski, Juan Suharto, Sergei Petrov, and Matheus Juan de Porto. These will be the last drivers to get into the qualifying laps. Let's see if Domaschnev can improve from his 7th place. Not quite. 145.29 for Domaschnev. De Porto 141.77 is still the fastest Lexus cars. Snooze has bumped Santini from 11th to 12th. Snooze now takes 11th. 2 more cars, Sergei Petrov and Juan Suharto, as we're about to transition over into the race. Let's see where Juan Suharto ends up. It's going to be 478, 4/10 behind. He's now up to 10th. And that will be the end of qualifying as it stands. We'll not be seeing much improvements here as Petrov peels into the pits. And that is qualifying over for race 3 here in Fuji for Split B. It's a new faces on pole position. Putri Farah Kamal in the number 63 Yukana Lami Honda. Congratulations to her. Hofumai finally has the form he needs to challenge for a championship once again. He now qualifies on the front row. But before we go any further, how about we would like to hear all of the thoughts from our co-commentator Gibbo as we're about to get into race 3 here in Fuji.
Yeah, as you were saying, some new faces on pole and some new faces towards the front as well. We're not seeing that Lexus domination we saw at the previous round, so it's a lot more open this round.
It's more open. It's anyone's race for the taking. Their fastest Lexus is Matheus Juan de Porto, only 4/10 behind. Fastest Nissan is Hofumai, only 2/10 behind. So there's a lot of parity here in this race here. Putifara Kamal, the number 63, Yukihana Lami Honda sits on pole. Hofumai is currently 2nd in the number 1 Tokino Sora Nissan. Back into the top 2 for the once championship leader, Andrew Rakhimbayev. Qualifies solidly in 3rd place. Good job from him. Matheus Juan de Porto, number 3, Tsunamaki Watami. Lexus is in 4th. Calvin Gibbons, currently 2nd in the championship, qualifies 5th. In the number 64, Roboco Lexus, Raji Kaczynski in 6th. In the number 74, Yuzuki Choko Lexus. Vladislav Domaschnev, 2 spots behind Calvin Gibbons, crucially. In the number 90, Akirose Lexus, he's the championship leader. Katerin Vasilyev, still in the midfield there, the number 11 Sadra Pecora Honda. Sergei Petrov in the number 5, Nekomata Kaya Nissan, he qualifies 9th. Juan Suharto 10th in the number 20, Shiranui Flem Nissan. Kizuhara Leo, number 40, Murasaki Shion Honda in 11th. Thomas Snooks, number 43, Shishiro Botan Lexus in 12th. Santini, number 9, Minato Aqua Nissan in 13th. Here's Azad. Santini, number 9, Minato Aqua Nissan in 13th. Here's Azad, 14th, in the number 18, Akirose Lexus. And rounding out the field, here's Momo Kashio in the number 66, Jozora Mel Lexus. Now, as we're about to transition over into the race here, some final preparations are about to be done on who gets to pit when and all that stuff. And of course, there's a lot here at stake here with the pole sitter. Putri Farakama for the first time in Hall GT3, she takes pole position. We're going to transition over into the race here. 22 laps of racing here in Fuji. Or is that 21 laps? Wait, I don't really know too much. Whatever the case is, 5 red lights. And the 22 laps here in Fuji for race 3 is underway. Putri Farakama has aced the start very well there. Fumai has bogged down the start. Andrew Rakhimbayev is going to challenge 2nd place from Fumai, but Fumai has the inside line. There's contact between Fumai and De Porto that actually bumps. He bumps De Porto and is on a run there, De Porto. De Porto is now up to 3rd place. Vasiliev having a launching start. Now up to 4th. Kaczynski up to 6th. We're seeing side-by-sides between the Porto and Rakhimbayev challenging for second place. You can see Fuma getting off the track and nearly having an unsafe rejoin. That punches up all the other drivers here. Kaczynski is now going to challenge Fumai for 5th place. Starting second, he's now down 3 to 4 positions there. Gibbons now in 7th place. Domaschnev right alongside him. Leo is now up to 11th place as well. We're seeing a lot of side-by-side battle here between Rakhimbayev and the Porto into the Dunlop chicane. This is a manic for first 2 sectors here, Gibbo.
Yeah, dramatic curse goes. This is indeed as Rakhimbayev goes wide. They're taking a lot of curve. Just don't want to unstabilize the car. We did see retirements last time here at Fuji because of that, but yeah, a lot of side-by-side action this first lap. Gibbo not an ideal start either with Domaschnev right behind him, so it's all shuffling around very quickly.
Oh, everyone is getting pretty squirrely here into the first lap of the race. There's cold tires here at the start. There's contact between Azad and Suharto. That's going to leave room for Leo to pounce. Cashew and Petrov looking to fight. Snooks and Nee also all looking to fight side by side as we're about to finish the first lap. Potivar Kamal is 2 seconds ahead of the Porto in the race lead. Rakhimbayev is going to pounce here. This would be like Dobutsu Ranai, which is basically animal fortune telling. Rakhimbayev is going to be catching the Porto into the inside. Rakhimbayev for 2nd place. Vasiliev is not far behind in 4th place. Fuma has re-overtaken Kaczynski for 5th place. Gibbons in 7th. Domaschnev 8th. Leo has overtaken Azad and Petrov. Leo's now back in the points.
Yeah, still shuffling around at the start of the second lap. Fuma making the good progress on that from that qualifying position. I think after the previous run up no points, he'll definitely want a better outcome this time around. As we still got side-by-side action and even still here, so not really settling down just quite yet.
And currently the battle is in favor of the Porto. The Porto has the inside line into the hairpin. Rakhimbayev is on the outside. Vasiliev is looking to pounce. Here's Snooks and Cashew, and there's actually a retirement here. And that is actually Wawan Suharto, who actually went off wide there of turn 15 and 16. Got spun around and suddenly has a failure in the car. He couldn't manage to get his car back onto the track. That is Wawan Suharto's race over. Unfortunate start from the Indonesian.
Yeah, unfortunate indeed. Possibly just a bit of contact there, and again, still really using the curbs, these guys. Like, you know, I think even round 1 we had a rollover at one point, so really testing the limits of the car there.
And Rakhimbayev goes too wide there, gets to rejoin the track. It's now the Porto defending 2nd place like a mad sheep. The Porto obviously representing Tsunamaki Watame. Potrifara Kamal is currently still holding on to the race lead. Rakhimbayev is catching the Porto. We're going to be taking a look into the gaps here, the intervals between the leaders, who is going to pounce who. And as it stands, Domaschnev is looking to pounce Gibbons there. 2 championship contenders. They're looking to steal points from each other. Rakhimbayev is going to try to pounce the Porto for 2nd place. This will give Farakama the breathing opportunity she needs. And if Vasiliev is under pressure from Fumai, who's looking to fight back after that horrid start he has experienced there. Look at the damage there, no more Tokinosaur on this end. And Domaschnev crucially makes the pass for Caleb Gibbons. This is going to be important in the championship context. Cashew and Snooze going side by side.
Yeah, it is, as I said, very crucial in the championship as well. We've still got battles at, like, you know, front, middle, rear, like, battles everywhere at this point. But as I said, crucial moments in the championship here.
Katarina Vasiliev and Kofu Mai currently sitting 7th and 4th in the championship respectively. Vasiliev hasn't been showing much of what the Pecora Honda is capable of ever since she has joined Hololive GT3, similar to Sergei Petrov. But the difference between Petrov and Vasiliev is that Vasiliev has managed to qualify ahead of the field, basically almost close to the front there, nearing pole position, while Petrov still has that poor form of qualifying. And we're now in lap 3 here. We're still looking into the battles here of multiple drivers. Let's look at the race field monitor on who pits first and who pits later on in this race. Sergei Petrov, Callum Gibbons, Hofu Mai, Mohamed Cashew, Vlasa Domaschnev, Santini, Kizuhara Leo. These will be the drivers who will be pitting earlier, as does Matthias Van der Porte and Sergei Petrov, of course, and also Andrew Rakhimbayev. For those who are going to pit late, Potri Farakama with the extreme overcut strategy, as does some of the other drivers here as well. We were supposed to talk about Wasuharto, but he's already out of the race. So obviously, Potifar Kama going for the extreme overcut strategy, but most of the drivers are going to try to pit early on in this race.
Yes, I'm going for early undercut. Obviously, want to get those tyres off early, get back into clear, and hopefully get those hot laps in before everyone else makes their pit stop. It's still side by side going into turn 1. A slipstream working effectively for some of these drivers who might make in the place as well. Take note, Farakamal already 4 seconds the gap, so doing very well to convert that pole, and obviously no issues there. Unlike for the battle for 5th and 6th here, sorry, 4th and 5th here, it's still side by side and towards 100R. Going into the hairpin, Honda's got the inside, and still not really just holding on, but I think this is going to come back towards the start of sector 3.
Yes, it looks like Fumai is looking to have the preferred line into the Dunlop chicane here. Fumai has the inside line, but Vasilyev has the inside line for the next turn, which is turn 11. And meanwhile, Kizuhara Leo has done his best to climb himself up into the field. Remember, if you look at the progress start, he started 11, is now back in the points. Kizuhara Leo is showing very good racecraft here in the number 40 motorcycle on Honda. Meanwhile, we'll be taking a look into some of the other drivers here in the field. Raji Kaczynski is still on the back bumper of Vasilyev. Fumai is losing touch to the Porto in third. That Porto is going to probably score the first podium for Lexus for this round specifically. Now, of course, this is basically Lexus's home track, as this is Toyota's home track as well. Lexus is, of course, Toyota's luxury subsidiary. Look at Kizuhara Leo. Look at the mirrors there. Kizuhara Leo side by side with Vladislav Domaschnev. Kizuhara Leo really showing race pace. He may overtake 2 cars at once. It's going to be a double overtake by Kizuhara Leo if he can make the pass work. He's now really going into side by side and having that good launch there off of turn 1. Kizuhara Leo showing the fact that he has the best car available in the race, is actually catching the leaders actually. Kizuhara Leo is trying to make the pass to Kaczynski. Will he make the double pass work? He goes off track just a bit into the inside of 100R. Kizuhara Leo has the inside line, but Kaczynski has the preferred outside line. But Leo, what a drive from him, but Kaczynski is going to fight back Leo into the exit of the hairpin there into 300R. Kizuhara Leo having the better launch there. Kizuhara Leo takes 6th place.
Yeah, a good sequence there from Leo, making use of that beefier engine and the slipstream as well. Obviously the Honda in this sense will have the straight line speed advantage compared to the Lexus, while the Lexus has the better performance in the corners. So don't toss them out just yet. Lexus is still in this.
Lexus is still in this as well, but this one, the Porto is still the best Lexus car in this race so far. He's currently sitting third in the number 3 Tsunamaki Watame Lexus. As for Kizuhara Leo's strategy specifically, he will be one of the first drivers to pit. He will commit to this undercut strategy to make sure he pits earlier than everyone else. Get those fresh tires out in the second stint. Make sure you put in those laps in while the drivers making the overcut strategy struggle with their tire wear, all that stuff. And hopefully you'll be able to gain some delta, some few seconds ahead of the other drivers here.
Yeah, we'll think the game for the strategy indeed. As I said, still not really, the field hasn't really spread out at this point. Still less than a second or just 1 second gaps, with the exception of our leader Leo in the fastest lap of 39.6. I believe is the only one in the 39, so definitely on the charge here.
Definitely on the charge here. This is of course the fastest Honda outright. Sergei Petrov has overtaken Azad for the points paying positions. This is only score 1 point. Only point is crucial there because this is going to try to challenge Domaschnev, and that will open the door for Callum Gibbons to actually try to make a pounce there. Callum Gibbons is almost being pushed off wide there by Kaczynski. He has the outside line, Callum Gibbons, and manages to pass Kaczynski. Kaczynski was trying to pass Domaschnev, but that of course backfired so hard. He's now down to 9th place.
Back up to 8th now, though, just behind his championship rival, so obviously wants to get out of the way. Kaczynski doesn't want any bother with him, just wants to focus on his championship rival, but can't really do that at the moment. Just looks to be defending it a bit here as, yep, still side by side, taking a lot of curbs, still got that inside, but I think he's just going to lose it again as the Honda is a bit slow there.
Yes, I think Kizuhara Leo has taken way too much curb but manages to catch the car. Fortunately, he has reported that the suspension is still working as intended. So Kizuhara Leo has to start from, has to take back a few steps there with that mistake. Snooks has overtaken Santini once again for 12th place. Kizuhara Leo, oh, look at this, more side-by-side battles here, I think. There's, oh, look at Cashew there going a bit off there. Here's Cashew still in 14th place. Here is Andrew Rakimbaya coming into his pit stop. He will be the first to pit. this early into the race. Let's see if the undercut strategy will work out for Andrew.
Yeah, very early stop, and I don't think anyone else is taking the pit stop at this point, so get the fresh tyres early. Might have wear towards the end, but should come out in clear air.
And as it stands, Snooks and Nee side by side into turn 1 there. Santini has overtaken Thomas Snooks for position. Here is Santini in 11th place. Snooks is going to fight back. Meanwhile, who is going to edge ahead of each other? Santini holds on to 11th place. Kizuhara Leo has overtaken some of the other drivers. He's now still up to 7th there. Still a gain of 4 positions from his race start. Of course, Edward Kimbayev is ahead of him, so he's technically still in the net 8th as it stands. But look at this, another battle here between Petrov and Kaczynski. Petrov is still defending from Kaczynski, who has a grip in outside the corners. And Sergei Petrov holds on to 8th place.
Yeah, just holding on here to start to that Lexus really up behind him, but still standing ground at the moment as we look through the rest of it. Again, still not really spreading out with Kaczynski behind Petrov as well. Here as well, trying to defend from Leo, so I think Leo possibly just going to tuck into that slipstream on the front straight. We did say that the Honda has a straight line advantage over Lexus. We'll maybe use of that again, try a repeat, potentially a repeat of that double overtake he did earlier.
Let's see what Kizuhara Leo could do there, but actually Cal Gibbons will be committing his time in the pit lane. Actually, he's gonna try to pit earlier than Domaschnev to make sure he has that track advantage, the time in the pits. But meanwhile, Kizuhara Leo is slightly under pressure for Sergei Petrov, but he's too far back as the race calms down just a little bit. Look at Petrov there, he's gonna try to catch Leo. Will there be? No, I don't think there will be any contact. He thinks better off. Azar tries to catch Kaczynski, but Azar is just not close enough to Kaczynski. Right now, Leo and Petrov are currently sitting 6 and 7 respectively.
Yeah, the slipstream very powerful indeed. Snooks also making the pit stop as well. With Gibbo last run at Motegi, I believe it was Domaschnev who made the undercut first, and it was Gibbo who tried to stretch out the stint but ended up losing out on those worn tyres. So possibly some rubber reversal here. We might see the undercut work well here in Gibbo's favour. Yeah,
we'll see about that later on in this race. Vladislav Domaschnev, by the way, is going to pit next lap, as does Kizuhara Leo, Hofumai. Rakimbayev has made the pass actually on Callum Gibbons there. Well, of course, and Rakimbayev was actually a challenger for the race win here as he committed the undercut strategy. We're going to switch over to the gaps to the leaders. About the delta here between the leader and basically the delta needed for you to get ahead of the other driver. So basically, if you wanted to have the make the pass on the pit stops work, you need to be below 45 seconds to make sure the delta is in your favor. And as it stands, Rakimbayev is able to pass maybe Fumai de Porto. Speaking of Fumai will be the next driver to pit. Let's see where the second and third end up for them in the battle against Rakimbayev, as Leo and Domaschnev also make their way to the pit stops.
Yeah, Farah Kamal can still continue in the lead. More longer pit lanes for this series. It's quite a long delta, 45-50 seconds. So definitely, slow trundle down the pit lane with this very long straight.
Cashew also making a roll into the pit lane. Azar and Kaczynski are still battling for position. Andrew Rakimbayev is still barreling down into turn 16, which is the final corner, which is Panasonic. And we see some of the other drivers here actually pitting this race. Fuma has about to exit the pits as it stands, as you can see. Oh, look at this. This is gonna get close there. Porto is actually edging ahead of Fumai. Fumai was ahead of Porto, but now Porto is ahead of Fumai by pit stops. Look at Rakimbayev. Rakimbayev is having the warmer tires here. He might just be able to challenge Porto once again. Porto still needs to warm his tires up. The gap now is only 6/10. Let's see how fast Rakimbayev is able to catch Porto. Actually, it could be as soon as turn 3. Into the inside goes Rakimbayev challenging Porto, and it looks like the undercut strategy might as well just work. But it's the outside line for Rakimbayev, inside line for Porto in the long 100R, but into the hairpin, it's going to be the inside line for Rakimbayev. Gibbons has actually passed Domaschnev, crucially. Domaschnev has responded a lap or two too late, and now Gibbons has the upper hand in the championship battle.
Yeah, maybe just been one lap for that undercut, but it was just enough to get the up on him as well. Now I'm going to be chasing after Deporto, who's about 4 seconds up as Ricky and Deporto continue their battle, so obviously holding each other up. And Ricky still holding station at the moment as Azad. Some third players, we've got a few still going to pit, so Petrov and Kaczynski, so a few more to complete their pit stops, including the leader.
Santini is also peeling into the pits as well. The drivers left who are going to be into the pits. Katerin Vasilyev is also going to be planning to go into the pit stop next lap. And then also Azad. But for Putri Farakamal, she's really stretching the fuel window here at the moment. Is currently Andrew Rakhimbayev in a provisional second place there. But of course Farakamal trying to commit to the overcut strategy, trying to hold on to this race lead for as long as she can. Actually, Gibbo, do you reckon that Farakamal may just as well may perform a hat trick here in this race so far? No, well, not a grand slam, but just a hat trick of pole, fastest lap, and let pole, let every single lap and race win.
There's definitely a potential there, and it's obviously still extending out that gap, you know, despite stretching out the stint on those worn tyres. He did set that gap out early, obviously in clear air, avoiding any battle, so this is their race to lose, really.
Right now, it's Cashier Snooze side by side, so it's Snooze's advantage as it stands right now. Fumai is going to try to overtake Kaczynski. Fumai with that slow pit stop having to repair that rear end. Now Fumai is back down to 10th, so obviously unfortunate stuff for Fumai, who has to pit for also for repairing the damage in the right side, in the back side of his car. As you may have noted early on that his car had damage early on. Meanwhile, Kyle Gibbons and Kizuhara Leo, naturally no, Sergey Petrov and Kizuhara Leo battling for position there. They both have already made their pit stop. Kizuhara Leo's now up to 7th place. Kevin Basiliev, the next driver to pit, as the 40 car and the 5 car are still side by side. They're still side by side exiting the Dunlop chicane into turn 13, that is turn 13 actually, into turn 14 and 50, which is net. You see people going off track just a little bit. Let's see if Kizuhara Leo doesn't make that much of a mistake, holds on to the arc, but it's a bit of a contact, and there's contact between Sergey Petrov and Domaschnev, as Kizuhara Leo getting pretty cheeky there, almost giving Sergey Petrov little to no room, almost spins him out, and it's Petrov losing out to the battle. Kizuhara Leo, how about that?
Yeah, Petrov still just being able to keep the cars pointing in the right direction and continue on as Azad makes his pit stop. You can see Gibber has definitely made quite the jump on the field with that undercut. So it's jumped Leo, Petrov to Domaschnev is very good on strategy there. As we can see, pit exit, Azad just not holding on to that position. He's going to have cold tyres, so he's going to struggle to hold that position.
Yes, it's going to be under pressure from Sergey Petrov. He's now sitting duck there to Sergey Petrov. Sergey Petrov has the inside line. Sergey Petrov up to 7th place and now leaving room for Vladislav Domaschnev to try to overtake Azad as well. Now Vladislav Domaschnev is embroiled in a heavy battle here between multiple drivers here. As you can see, Azad has the unfavorable inside line being held up by Sergey Petrov. Domashev's now up to 8th. And is currently 3 spots behind Gibbons, who is currently in 5th place. He's going to be trying to take 32 points, while Domaschnev is going to be only taking 5. So it looks like, as it stands, Gibbo, you're going to be retaking the championship lead.
That would be ideal for myself, not to try to be biased and all. I think Fumai was higher up before and has lost out on the pit stop as well, so a few losers but some winners out of those pit stops, so it's definitely causing a quite shuffle, obviously holding each other up with all these battles, so definitely not really spreading apart from one another.
Actually, I just wanted to report some as well. Putifar Kamal is making the overcut strategy work very well for her. Putifar Kamal still have a maximum lap count of 5 more laps, and Farah Kamal is currently holding on to this race lead like a mad woman as it stands. Here's Rakhimbayev and Katerin Vasilyev. These are the 2 drivers challenging for the basically 2nd place as it stands. Rakhimbayev and Vasilyev. Of course, Vasilyev have not been at this part of the positions here since joining Holo GT3. This is a good run for Vasilyev. Ever since she joined Holo GT3, she has not been challenging in the top 5, but now Vasilyev is back in the podium position, and Rakhimbayev is also going to challenge for the podium position for the first time, I think, since Sepang, or was that Buriram? Or the case is, we'll come back to contending for podium positions there for Vasilyev and Rakhimbayev.
Yeah, Deporto potentially having a look at the podium position as well, could potentially break into that top 5 in the championship. So with Azad down in 8th, Deporto maybe getting a podium. So I think looking at the championship at the moment, may potentially be able to break the top 5 with that.
Yeah, as it stands, Azad is currently sitting down in 8th place. As for Hofumai is currently only going to score 1 point, so Deporto might just be able to break into the top 5 of the championship after this race, which is race 3 of here in Fuji, round 7 of 2022 Hololive GT3 Japan Series. So we're gonna need to take a bit of a chill pill for a while and talk about some of the drivers here. Now, recently Okami Mio have scored 1 million subscribers on her YouTube account, and of course, with that 1 million subscribers, she's currently releasing limited edition merch, which is basically her sweater, her hoodie that she has been using herself, and she's putting it up on sale for 13,000 yen. That is roughly at around 100 American dollars and around 130 plus Australian dollars. That is excluding shipping. So we're going to talk about some high quality merch there for some of the Hololive members.
Big day, so high quality merch indeed, and definitely a premium price as well. As we still look at this podium battle here, Deporto still 1 second off the pack, Rakimbiev still about a second off as well, so a bit evenly spaced here. Gibbo in 5th, saw a bit in no man's land tomorrow. We've got Leo, Petrov, Azad, Domaschnev, and Fumai to round out the points paying positions.
As of right now, Leo is actually catching Gibbo by some rate of not. Back then it was a 2.4 second gap. It's now a 2 second gap between Kizuhara Leo and Callum Gibbons right now. So we might be seeing Kizuhara Leo scoring his best ever finish in Hololive GT3 once again in 5th place. Now, he did finish 4th in Sepang Split B Race 1, but because he punted back then Alex Bowen in the number 9 Minato on this hand out of the way, he eventually caught a 30-second time penalty for causing a collision. So he basically became a non-factor in that race after that. He eventually finished 5th, I think 15th in that race because Kizuhara Leo, Alex Bowen managed to continue in that race, but that put her out of contention for the race win. Meanwhile, the Porter is getting pretty close to Rakimbiev, but of course, with the engine disadvantage that the Lexus has over the Nissan and Hondas, the Porto is going to struggle to catch Rakimbiev on the straight, but might just be able to catch him in the corners.
Yeah, as I was saying, with that lack of engine power compared to the Honda, even in the slipstream, just can't really compete there, so the corners are pretty much the only option for him. As you were saying, Leo still catching up as well, 1.7 seconds now the margin as well, 4/10 faster than him on the previous lap, so 1 minute 40 flat there, so as long as Leo can make a clean pass, then set for a very good result.
Yes, Kizuhara Leo looking for that top 10 looking for that top 5 finish for a long time. Now, obviously, he's finished 5th, I think, once or twice. He did finish 5th back in the Split B season opener here in Fuji last March. But as for the current state right now, the Porto is still in 4th place right now, and Kizuhara Leo really catching Gibbons at a rate of not of, I think, 4/10 a lap. So he might just be able to catch Gibbons by around, I would estimate, at around lap 18, lap 19, as I would say. I think it's a 141 there for Fuji Kamal, as she is now still 54 seconds ahead of Vasiliev and Rakimbiev. So I believe she's in a prime position to hold on to this race lead even after committing to an overcut strategy.
Yes, so on the previous lap, still lapping in the 1 minute 40, so managing those tyres very well. I dare say tyre degradation, I think we'd be more harsh on the left hand side with those like long right hand high speed corners, but yeah, managing them very well, should be pitching in the next couple of laps, I believe.
As it stands right now, Fuji only has 8 liters of fuel remaining. She may be able to pit in the next lap or two, as you have mentioned. Vasiliev is currently in 2nd place. Rakimbiev still looking at Deporto in his rear view mirror. Deporto trying to catch Rakimbiev. Obviously, 1/2 of actually 3/4 of Dobutsu Ranai actually. Now Dobutsu Ranai being performed by Sara Pecora, Okami Mio, Tsunamaki Watame, and Shishiro Bota respectively, but Snooks is in 13th place, so that's why we say it's 34th of Dobutsu Ranai. So as a Dobutsu Ranai would mean animal fortune telling. So that is a thing between the drivers in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We're looking at the race monitor once again. No call for Putifara Kamal to pit this lap just yet. Meanwhile, Kizaru Leo is definitely catching Caleb Gibbons right now. Top 5 is definitely possible for Leo.
Yeah, definitely possible. The gap was 1 second briefly just before, but now it's eked out back to 1.4 seconds as well. So now it's, yeah, I think, yeah, in the, as you see here, 10 towards sector 3. So in the corners, the Lexus does have the advantage. So we could probably expect that gap to close up a bit more once we get back on the front straight.
Yes, it's true. 22.7 on the on the first sector for Gibbo. Kizaru Leo has a 22.6. As drivers pass into the second sector, there we're looking at the live gaps here. Kizaru Leo has actually slowed down on sector 2, where the long corners here are what benefits the Lexus cars. So 37.7 for Caleb Gibbons in the second sector, 37.9 for Kizaru Leo in the second sector. He's losing just a bit to Caleb Gibbons right now, but it's still under 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, still managing that gap pretty nicely. Can possibly make that back up on the front straight using that superior engine power. As for the lead at the moment, still stretching out that stint, so I think might be coming in very shortly. Still 54 seconds of gap, so should come out well out in front.
Yes, she'll come well out in front there. She could, if she can score a fastest lap, she would score a feat that no driver in Hall GT3 has ever done before. Yes, Mama Shadin Riza and Sean Pauli have swept a round in Split A, but we have never seen a driver actually commit to what we call a Grand Slam of motorsports. Basically, score a pole, get fastest lap, lead every single lap, and win the race. We have not seen that performance ever before in Hall GT3. Putti Farakawa might just as well be the favorites, the closest one to do so right now.
Yes, it would be a first for us indeed in both Split A and Split B, so we'll see how it goes with that pit stop very shortly. Still 1 minute 40.1, so still going pretty well in terms of lap time. So again, still managing those tyres very well. So possibly, you know, put on low fuel towards the end. You know, I think it's a very easy option to get fastest lap. If I'm sure she has it already, but you know, could potentially improve even further.
But as of right now, the performance for Putti Farakawa has been one of the best we've seen in Hall GT3 so far. We talked about Sean Pauli trying to climb up the field from the front row of the grid to basically win both races here in Fuji. We talked about Shadin Reza winning both races in Okayama and immediately assuming the championship lead, and it's probably not looked back ever since. But of course, we will talk about Split A just a little bit there. Shadin Reza having that unfortunate retirement in Fuji Race 4 that allowed Sean Pauli to be a challenger for the championship for the first time this season. Now only 130 points behind championship leader Mama Shadin Reza, Sean Pauli. And Elegant Aster not far behind. Here's Fumai into the rear end of Vladisław Domaschnev in the main straight down the inside. Fumai 287 kilometers an hour, breaking into turn 1. That's Fumai's 9th place.
Yes, yeah, so very crucial in terms of the championship. We're still in 5th place at the moment. The gap's now going down to less than a second for Leo. That might eke out again as we proceed through this lap. As actually now it is right now as we head into the corners, but that gap coming down ever so slightly between each lap.
And we're looking at the sector times right now for Kizaru Leo and Caleb Gibbons, and actually Caleb Gibbons is actually faster in sector 1 than Kizaru Leo, that last sector 1 there, as we're about to approach sector 2. Putti Farakawa has now peeled into the pit. We have some confirmation there. Putti Farakawa is finally peeling into the pit. 17 laps into that first stint, and with her going low fuel in the second stint, let's see what Farakawa can do to probably steal fastest lap away from Kizaru Leo at the moment.
Yeah, very good first stint, really converting that pole off to the line very well. Not really facing any issues from anyone else. She should just be able to run her own race and should be able to run her own second stint.
And currently, Katrin Vasilyev is exiting the final corner there, turn 16, Panasonic. The Porto is still getting pretty close to Rakima, but loosed out just a bit. Kizaru Leo, 3 seconds off of Caleb Gibbons there in the second sector as well. Here's Farakawa exiting the pits. Very comfortably in the race lead there. And actually, if you want to look at the live gaps right now, she has actually kind of extended it to 10 seconds actually. I think this is one of the largest winning margins in the whole GT3 racing up to this point. We have not seen a win from this ahead, but Vasilyev is trying to catch Farakawa with those warmer tires, but the gap is 10 seconds. Farakawa is leading by a huge margin here.
Yeah, very comfortably there. We did see, even while still managing those tyres towards the end of the first stint, still lapping in the low 40s, which is about where the other leaders were around as well. So still matching pace very nicely, still managing that gap, and it's paid off very well in that pit stop, nearly 10 seconds in margin.
Currently, Kizuhara Leo 6th place there, catching. Callum Gibbons loses out on the corners just a bit. Looks like his tires are just about shot. Speaking of the tires here, although actually Callum Gibbons has the worst tires available right now, 1 lap older tires than Leo at the moment. Leo is actually struggling to catch Gibbons. If you look at the number 64 Robo Lexus, the car is pristine and clean. Kizuhara Leo's car has suffered some kind of damage there after early race kerfuffle, but that does not discount the fact that he has had a very good run here in this race. We're looking at the progress chart once again. He started 11th, now up to 6th. But Catherine Vasilyev, though, making use of the start, she started from way back in 8th, now up to 2nd. And obviously, this doesn't compare to Shekev Reza in Split B Race 1, where here in Fuji, where he started 8th, got up to 2nd before lap 2, and obviously now looking to, and then overtaking Ariane back then, driving the number 1 Tokinosora Nissan in back then last March. And we're looking at the gaps right now, the intervals right now, and then Shaki managed to basically undercut Agabe Ariane for the race lead and eventually won the first race for Split B here in Fuji. So right now, Catherine Vasilyev, even though she didn't manage to win this race, can still bring home a very good result.
Yeah, quite a few hard charges for this race, making up good position from their qualifying on the grid. Fumai, the biggest loser, going down 7 positions so far in this race, so not really doing himself any favors in terms of the championship. Was leading last round, lost that lead with no points, and here is just in the points paying position, so not really doing himself any favors.
And right now the portal was almost about to catch Rakim Bayev there into the Dunlop chicane. There we are now, just over 3 laps to go here in race 3 here in Fuji. This is basically still round, it counts as round 7 though. The Porto exiting turn 15, catching Rakim Bayev, but the gap is now 6/10, and actually at this point the Porto is actually losing out just a bit to Rakim Bayev, as Farah Kamal is about to start lap 20, comfortably in the lead here, 139.659. Not exactly the fastest lap so far, but it is her personal best.
Yeah, indeed, a personal best. There's still a couple more chances to grab that fastest lap for that Grand Slam, and still comfortably, I think over 10 seconds now the margin. So as you said, possibly will be the largest winning margin in the Hololive GT3 race.
And currently, Kizuhara Leo holds the fastest lap in the race, 139.606. But Farah Kamal has the second fastest lap of 139.659. And as it stands right now, Leo is actually catching Callum Gibbons. There's not catching up to what we would expect right now. Looking at the sector 1 times, Kizuhara Leo is lost out by just a 10 to Callum Gibbons as it stands. And Sergei Petrov is actually catching both drivers. Actually, the dirty air is actually, it's quite prevalent-ish in this race right now, but then Kizuhara Leo still has the faster car than Gibbons as it stands. Deporto is losing touch just actually by quite the margin there to Rakim Bayev. Rakim Bayev is going to hold on to 3rd in what would be a Honda 1-2-3 in the podium. Deporto still the fastest Lexus car. Sergei Petrov the fastest Nissan. Wallace Gardner was supposed to challenge for the points there, but of course spun out and retired from the race. There's Kizuhara Leo in 6th place, hanging on to his position as it stands, losing out to Gibbons actually. Looking at the second sector times, 38.2 compared to 37.8. Kizuhara Leo is really losing out there on the second sector, but let's look at the final sector. Let's see what Leo can do to gain back some lost ground.
Yeah, just gonna slightly tuck into that slipstream now. I think despite being over a second, it's still prevalent here. The slipstream tends to be very strong. You can see that gap coming down nearly below 1 second, so you can see 1.0 seconds, 9/10 of margin now, still down on overall lap time, so using that straight line speed, but the cornering is still lacking.
The corner speed is currently lacking for Kizaru Leo right now. There's not much grip in his tires right now. We're currently starting the penultimate lap of the race. Kizaru Leo trying to catch Gibbons by a rate of not, but here is the part where they have absolutely struggled, where Kizaru Leo has absolutely struggled there, and actually still 1/10 behind even on the first sector, so that is one to look out for, as Sergei Petov is actually catching Kizaru Leo by some rate. And meanwhile, the Porto not being able to catch Rakhimbayev right now. Domaschnev holding on to 10th place there. That would mean that Count Gibbons will reassume the championship lead, stealing 31 points away from Domaschnev as it stands.
Yeah, Domaschnev was looking pretty good early on, was ahead of Gibber at one point early in the first stint, but just lost that progression as we went through the pit stops, got caught up in a few battles and just couldn't really progress up.
Currently, Kizaru Leo, 6th place. Not being able to catch Count Gibbons, and it looks like the battle is done and dusted there for 5th place. We're going to be taking a look into the race leader here at the moment for Trifara Kamal. Representing Yukihana Lami, number 63 Honda. The Yukimin are looking at this car in great detail as the car is about to set off one of the best performances in the race so far. The only thing that is not into this car's advantage is basically the fastest lap. So it's basically a hat trick but not a grand slam as it stands if our Kamal isn't unable to score that fastest lap as it stands. Vasilia holding on to 2nd place, Rakhimbayev 3rd place. The Porto 4, Gibbons 5th. Actually, Hofumai overtakes Azad in the final lap of the race. Great stuff there from Fuma to try to minimize the damage and stand. Remember, Azad is also his championship contender. Fuma now up to 8th place. As for Putrifara Kamal though, back to her. Representing Yukana Lami now. Yukana Lami is also known to be an alcoholic. She solves a lot of her problems through alcohol-related drinks. Beer, wine, yeah. And basically that's intoxicated for a lot of the times though. But there are times where she shines like a snowflake. And that's what you can allow me steam after, a snow elf. Putrifara Kamal is about to bring home the 2nd win in Holo GT3 as it stands. In one of the most dominant performances in the Holo GT3 up to this point. Qualifies on pole. Led every single lap. And is about to score a race win here in Fuji. Every Yukimin is currently looking at this car with great pride, knowing that Putrifara Kamal is representing Yukihana Lami in the number 63 Honda. Putrifara Kamal wins here in Fuji in one of the most dominating ways possible.
Yeah, very comfortable win, did easy pole, led every lap, and I think nothing get the fastest lap, so just that one little thing missing.
And currently, Catherine Vasilyev has finished this race as well. The race has been confirmed. Vasilyev 2nd, Rakhimbayev 3rd, and Porto holds on to 4th. Very solid run from the number 3 car. Kyle Gibbons will reassume the championship lead as it stands. Leo 6th, Petrov 7th, Fumai 8th, Azad 9th, and Domaschnev in 10th. This does confirm the fact that Kyle Gibbons will reassume the championship lead.
Yeah, good for me. I'm trying to figure out how to say it without being completely biased, but obviously, you know, very good performance from my car indeed.
Putrifara Kamal is definitely very excited. She's definitely wanting to get back to the pits ASAP. There's a very good performance there from Putrifara Kamal there. And looks like she will leapfrog a lot of the drivers back into contention, into the top 5 now. As we're about to transition over into the results. Fortunately, with the subscribers only chat, we are now limiting this to only the subscribers, and this would mean that no bots will be available. Putrifara Kamal takes the confident and convincing race win, 11 seconds ahead of Katerina Vasilyev, one of the largest margins of victory here in Holo GT3. Katerina Vasilyev scores her best ever finish in her Holo GT3 career so far. In the number 11 Soda Pecora Honda, and Rakhimbayev, welcome back to the podium. Number 30 Okami Honda. Manchester won the Porto on a consistent run of top 5s. And the number 3 Tsunamaki Watame Lexus in 4th. Cal Gibbons reassumes the championship lead in the number 64 Oboko Lexus. Kizuhara Leo in his another solid run in the number 40 Marsaki Shia Honda, especially after starting 11th. Seki Petro number 5. Nekomato Kai Nissan is in 7th. Hofu Mai 8th. Back in the points for him finally. Azad 9th for the number 18 Akirose Lexus. There is Vladislav Domaschnev number 19 Akirose Lexus. Santini number 9 Minato Aqua Nissan. There's Raiji Kaczynski as well at number 12. Yuzuki Choko Lexus, Thomas Stukes 13th, that's a score point for him. Unfortunately, number 43 Shishiro Mota Lexus Those are Mel's number 66. Lexus, no point score from Mamakashu. Almost Harto got caught up in that lap 1 incident, by the way, in the number 22 Noi Flare Nissan. Let's look into the replay here. Actually, I've been into the transmission there. We're going to be taking a look back into the results in case you missed it. Here's the top 10 here. And then here's the top. And then there's the remaining finishers here as well. So, yeah, we're going to transition over into the replay. Obviously, we're going to need to focus on Wawan Suharto specifically. Especially in his lap 1 kerfuffle here. Is we're going to start to take a look into this portion of this race. As you can see, we're gonna take a look at Wawan Suharto. Wawan Suharto was actually battling with Azad. Here is Wawan Suharto challenging for positions there. This was a battle for 8th place. Wawan Suharto got way out of shape there. The tires were not there. The grip was not there just yet. There was contact between himself and Azad. And then he got breaks way too wide here, loses the car, and obviously the early damage with the suspension basically gave way, and that is him out of the race.
Yeah, so someone obviously failed there and gone over those curves. We did see something similar in round 1 at Fuji, so those curves still biting hard.
So as we're about to save the replay and look at the championship context, and we do have confirmation that yes, we're beating this dead bush here multiple times already. Count Gibbons have assumed the championship lead once again from Vlasa Domaschnev. There's now an ebb and flow in the championship at this point in the championship, so there will be a lot of intrigue for basically what happened in here. So we're gonna need to take a look into the championship context. Yes, Kizuhara Leo, we have confirmed that he takes fastest lap in this race so far, so there will not be a grand slam but just a hat trick for Futrifara Kamal. Here is the championship at the moment. Here the ebb and flow of the championship continues. Callum Gibbons now retakes the championship lead from Vlasa Domaschnev with over 19 points ahead of Vlasa Domaschnev in second. Thomas Snooks doesn't score a point. But Fumai and Azar are catching up in 4th and 5th. But Nuada Porto is not far behind in 6th, only 2 points behind Azad. Katar Vasiliev and Putifar Kamal maintain their spot in 7th and 8th respectively. They've actually climbed up actually. Rakim Bayev is staying in 9th place. Wawan Suharto now drops down to 10th. Sergei Petrov and Rajiv Kaczynski stay where they are. Kashio Santini and Kizuhara Leo also stay where they are in the bottom 5 of the championship. So would like to give you would you like to give us a rundown of basically race 3 for Split B here in Fuji before we transition over to qualifying for race 4?
Yeah, it's that Benedette Horse, my car, taking the lead once again, so thank you very much. As for the race as a whole, obviously not the Lexus domination that we saw previously. Honda back on top and locking out the podium, so definitely more favourable round for this brand.
And for now, remember the Lexus cars have been shown dominance in what's basically one of Honda's home tracks, one of the Honda owned tracks actually at Twin Ring Motegi. But it's now the Honda cars repaying the favor to the Lexus cars, to basically the Toyota and Lexus brand here in Fuji. So talk about karma.
Yeah, karma indeed. So definitely switching around, but the balance performance still working as it usually does. So it's still decently close in the championship as it is.
And currently Azad out on track, number 18, Nakiri Ayame Lexus. Now obviously he is in a consistent dark horse challenger for the championship here. And remember, you need to be 600 points behind the championship leader at most if you want to still be mathematically eligible for the championship. In Split A right now, all 15 drivers are still eligible for the championship with the points format that we have right now. But of course, Daniel Bolatev and Shakir Freza are over 400 points behind Shazin Reza, and if they don't close the gap to 400 points or below, they will be out of championship contention. As for Kizuhara Leo right now, Kizuhara Leo finally breaks into the 100-point barrier and is currently 300 points behind, so he's still in it to win the championship, but he has a definite long shot for the championship right now, as we're about to see some of the other drivers barreling into the track for their hot laps here in qualifying.
Yes, just setting themselves up for the second qualifying session. Obviously, it's a little bit darker than it was before, so by the looks of things in the sky, so possibly temp speed a bit down, probably a bit more effort needed for tyre warm-up, but it should still be interesting to see.
Currently, Vladislav Domaschnev and Kyle Gibbons are currently a second off of each other as it stands in qualifying. Both of them are looking to get an edge over each other on who is the best, has the best Lexus car in qualifying. The number 64 Roboco Lexus now it's been one of the best cars in Hol GT3 recently. Shakin Reza, the previous driver for this car, manages to bring home results for this car. So for this lap, I will be doing commentary in your car, Gibbo. So I'll be taking over the reins from here. Main straight, you want to like take a chill here in the main straight. Gotta need to take a sip of Milo if you want to. Into turn 1. Just right at 150 meter board here. Easy now into turn 1. Shift down to third, second, actually first. We're at low speed corner there. As you can see, Domaschnev almost under pressure from the Porto. While using the slipstream needed. Into turn 3. Break us between the 75 mark into Coca-Cola. Get a good arc into 100R, 22.67 for the first sector. Turn 5. Get a good exit into the hairpin. Brake just before the total hairpin in 6. Decent exit. Brake hair as much speed as possible into 300R. Hop onto the curb. So no lifting off whatsoever. Flat out 100%. Brake at the Dunlop billboard there. 100 meter board into the Dunlop chicane, as it's so named. Ooh, hops on the curves a bit aggressively there. Into turn 13. 59.98, that is a very decent lap there from Gibbo. Into 14 and 15, that is next. Easy now. Don't want to hit too much of the curve, don't want to hit the bollard. Into turn 16. Get a wide exit, get that late apex, make sure you put the power down as early as possible. Puerto Farakamal once again, 139.309, very good lap from her. Azad 1.2 seconds behind, so another lap that he's looking for. Here's Colin Gibbons barreling down the main straight. Vasiliev not far behind, only 3/10 behind. 139, Colin Gibbons second. De Porto actually using the slipstream of the against Domaschnev manages to qualify ahead of him. They're now side by side. This is a bit cheeky there between the Lexus. We haven't seen much of a Lexus Civil War there as much as Honda and Lexus previously in the season, but how about that?
Very good lap from my car indeed. Only 110 for Farakamal once again, setting the pace. Still very close between the top 5 as Petrov sneaks in with 39.5. And Domaschnev 5/10 down, but out in 10th at the moment. So we'll definitely want to see an improvement.
Meanwhile, Kizaru Leo, 4th fastest lap from him. Definite improvement in qualifying there. Watch out from him. He has the fastest car in race 3. So what are the other Leo is able to challenge for the race win here in race 4?
Definitely very good indeed. Obviously still a couple minutes left, still got people doing their second hot laps as well, so still more chances to improve as still shuffling around here. So Farakamal still setting the pace with that 39.3, not one else really challenging at the moment. As Azad continues across the finish line, want to improve on that 14th.
And as it stands, 137, 138. 139, 14 fastest from him, no improvements here. Santini sets the fastest first sector here, 22.4. 37.6 for Santini, not the fastest one, not the fastest second sector. That job goes to Cal Gibbons and then Mateus won De Porto. They have the grip on the long corners here. Thomas finally scores a position, finally scores his lap. He will qualify last at the stands. Vasiliev does improve, but only qualifies 8th.
Yeah, only 8th. We're still very close throughout the field, just 3.5 temps covering the top 10, so I think this might be one of the closer qualifying sessions we've had in this series.
Sergei Petrov and Santini barreling down the line. Sergei Petrov does not improve. Santini with the slipstream between him and Fuma. Fuma does improve, but does not yet not able to bump other drivers off. We're on the last minute of qualifying as it stands. Kizaru Leo, will he improve? No improvement for Kizaru Leo, only 100 behind. And looking at the lap times here, Hopeful has the fastest third sector out of everyone here so far. Santini has the fastest first sector. So you might want to pay attention to the Nissan cars on sectors 1 and 3. But for meanwhile, Andrew Rakhimbayev places in the top 5, 139.5. Very good stuff.
Yeah, very good indeed. Just 2 temps off again. This field's still very close. Just 6 temps coming to 14. Snooks, a bit of an outlier there. 1.1 seconds down.
Azad currently about to finish his lap for Tifar Kamal as well. Here's Muhammad Kashio looking to get himself back into the points there. The 66 car is probably on a lame duck performance here as it stands. 2 more cars about to finish their laps. Azad only improved back to 5/10, but not able to bump other drivers off. Thomas Snooks under pressure from Catherine Vasilyev using the slipstream. Let's see if Vasilyev manages to improve. No improvement for Vasilyev. Still 1/10 behind. Definitely being held back by Snooks. Because he's about to peel into the pits. Fastest second sector for Callum Gibbons. Watch out for him. He has already set at 139.409, but he's currently finished his lap. So that will be his lap time. That will be his qualifying session done for the day. More drivers peeling into the pits. Hopeful Mai is into the main straight. No improvements here. Kizohara Leo will be the next to cross the line. 137, 138. No improvements for Leo. He stays 4th in what's probably his best qualifying session of the season so far.
Yeah, very impressive qualifying indeed. Farakama still setting the pace, and Domaschnev obviously didn't set a last lap. They went back into the pits, 5 temps down, but in 12th, so very critical for the championship.
2 more drivers are about to finish their laps. Futifara Kamal once again, and Azad will be finishing their laps right away. Futifara Kamal staying put here at the moment. I don't think Azad will be improving. So that will be pole position for once again for Farah Kamal, just like Yosor Hernandez in Hall GT3. Wait, Azad actually bumps some of the drivers. He's now up to 12 actually. That's a good lap there from Azad to get himself back into contention for the top 10. So whatever the case is, we're going to be taking a look at the starting grid. But before that, Puerto Kamal sets a massive lap time of 139.309, just a 100th behind Callum Gibbons right now. But with the with the superior start performance of the Lexus cars, what do you think you'll be able to snatch the race lead away?
Yeah, also got the favoured inside line for the first corner giver as well. Farakama is on the racing line, so we'll have that better grip on the road, but obviously potentially not the favoured outside line. But I think otherwise it could be a lot to play for in the first corner. We did see some aggression from other drivers previously, so we might see more of the same here.
Currently, we're looking at the grid right now. Putifara Kamal sets the pole for race 4. Putifara Kamal, number 63, Kanalami Honda, currently sets the pole for the 2nd time in a row. Callum Gibbons runs up in the front row once again in the number 64 Roboco Lexus. Mateus Wandaporto, number 3, in 3rd place in car number 3. Kizuhara Leo in 4th place. Number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda doing in its best ever qualifying performance as it stands, I think. Andrew Rakhimbayev qualifies 5th. Sergei Petrov 6th, not bad for him. Kashi is back in the top 10 in 7th. Vasilyev 8th. Santini 9th. Hopeful my 10th. Rajan Kaczynski 11th. Azad 12th. Alexander Domaschnev 13th. Not good for Domaschnev being the championship contender to Callum Gibbons at the moment. Almost 14th. And Thomas Snooks rounds out the qualifiers here in Fuji. We're going to transition over into the race right away as Putifara Kamal sets the pace here. 5 red lights. We're transitioning over right now. Here it is. Callum Gibbons on the left. Putifara Kamal on the right on the front row. Watch this. Watch the start. Callum Gibbons is now neck and neck with Putifara Kamal, but I think he's lost out just a bit to Putifara Kamal once again. Looks like Putifara Kamal has the inside line into turn 1, has the preferred racing line to turn 1. Putifara Kamal manages to convert her pole into the race lead once again. As we have another issue with the timing tower there, Kizuhara Leo is going to try to challenge 3rd place from Mateus Wandaporto. Oh, as you can see there, Sergei Petrov! Oh, I think he has, slammed into the side of another driver there. Another manic second race start for Sergei Petrov. And now I think he has slammed the back of the slammed the side of another driver. As you can see, a lot of damage on the right side. Cashew is now looking to pounce. Meanwhile, he's going to be taking a look into the top 10 once again. Here is Kizaru Leo's about to score. He wants to score the first podium for the number 40 Murasaki Gion Honda for the first time in Hololive GT3 as it stands. Takes out too much air. That's not going to do him any favors. Rakim Bayev is going to challenge him for 5th place now. And we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 there for Farakama. Leads Cal give a second. Matisse Porto 3rd. Kizaru Leo 4th. And Andrew Rakame runs up the top 5. Second Petrov 6th. Cashew 7th. Vasiliev 8th. Santini 9th. And Hopeful Michael sits at 10th.
Yeah, so once again a very chaotic first lap. I reckon we're still converting that stuff very well. As we see the timing board continue to update, so we'll have to wait a bit there, but again, very chaotic.
As it stands right now, here is one of the leading, here is the gap right now. We have yet, the time tower has yet to catch the Porto right now, and as it stands, Leo is catching the Porto by a rate of not there. Rakimbayev may as well make a dive down the inside, but it's way not close enough there. The Porto holds on to 4th place. Rakimbayev is still scored with that 5th place. Vasiliev 6th, and Fumai actually now up to 7th now. Sergei Petrov 8th, Cashew 9, Azad 10th. So there's a bit of kerfuffle at the back. As for all the remaining drivers, there's Snooks in there. There's a side-by-side battle between Santini and what was Harto, number 9 versus number 20 into 100R. What was Harto as the inside line, but the hairpin, the inside line is going to be Santini's for the taking. Santi. Here it is. The battle is still raging on side by side. Suharto and Santini. Suharto has the inside line at 300R into the hairpin. And now exactly the Dunlop chicane. It's Suharto's 8th place as it stands. Meanwhile, going to be taking a look at some of the remaining drivers here. Kizaru Leo is catching the Porto. And Cal Gibbons is losing touch to Farakama by just a bit.
Yeah, I think Farakama just again continuing where she left off in the first race, converting that pole very well, seeing that gap early on, may consider a similar strategy. Maybe we'll look at the few models soon, but still a very good start indeed.
And currently, we're about to start lap 3 as Leo's under pressure from Rakimbayev right now, battle for 4th place. Actually, Farakama is going to try the opposite strategy of doing the undercut strategy. Want to pit earlier than usually than other people. Raji Kaczynski will be one of the earliest to pit. Farakama set the fast lap 139.161. Amazing fastest lap there from Farakama to score that fast of a fastest lap from her especially.
Yeah, very impressive lap indeed. We might be able to get that Grand Slam this time. Obviously didn't get the fastest lap last time, but has set the pace early on.
But I don't think the Grand Slam is possible because she's not going to lead every single lap. But I think she can still get a hat trick as it stands. Looking at the delta for the first sector here, Kizaru Leo is faster than Rakimbayev in that first sector. And also Mateus Juan de Porto. So obviously still slower than Gibbons and Puerto Farakama, but let's not discount Leo for him to challenge for his first podium in the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda.
Let's count him indeed. Very good progression in the first race, so we'll want to continue that momentum as well. Potentially looking at a podium, just 6/10 behind at the moment. Let's continue on into sector 3. So not really many side-by-side battles. I think this time, I think most of them have settled into single file, just trying to keep themselves tidy, not get themselves any damage after the chaotic first lap.
And right now, Azad is staying on to 10th place as it stands. Apologies if you see the American nationality on that car. Azad is actually Malaysian. Cashew is in 9th place. Snooks has overtaken, and there's contact between Snooks and the championship contender Vladislav Domaschnev. That is not going to look good for Domaschnev after a kerfuffle between the 43 and the 19. Vladislav Domaschnev is now suffering to a lot of damage and a lot of problems there after they made a tangle in the final turn. And look at this, Kizaru Leo making a move down the inside of the Porto. Now Kizaru Leo's back in the podium. The Porto's going to try to challenge the Porto once again to score that second consecutive podium, but it looks like Kizaru Leo's now back into the top 3. But Of course, we want to look into the battle here between Snooks and Domaschnev. That's not going to look good for Domaschnev. Domaschnev is looking to fight for the championship. Domaschnev has not, I believe, scored outside the points, except for that one time where his previous driver, Alex Grant, has hopped over the curb too aggressively and rolled over on its side in Fuji Split B Race 1. And right now, Wawan's Harto again has retired from this race after suffering a good amount of damage there. We're going to take a look at Wawan's no good, horrible, very bad race. Domaschnev, though, very not so good stuff there from the Japanese registered driver here. The only time he has not finished inside the points where it's not a crash was a Pang Race 2 where he finished 12th, or the case is not looking good for the Japanese registered driver at the moment.
Yeah, I was just saying that, thinking it's all settled down, but then I spoke too soon and that all happened, so, I think I'll just keep my mouth shut in that regard.
Okay, as it stands right now, Kizaru Leo is trying to catch Callum Gibbons. He wants to try to steal second place from Gibbons right now. Kizaru Leo, as we mentioned, he's on a charge to make sure he brings home result for the Murasaki Shion Honda. Down the inside goes Kizaru Leo. The slipstream working very well indeed for some of these drivers here. Kizaru Leo on the inside of Gibbons, and is now looking to have that second place sorted out. Cal Gibbons still is quite there. Will he make a dive bomb? I think so. But Kizaru Leo manages to hold on to second place right now. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a tag between Deporto and Rakhimbayev for fourth place, and that would mean Vasilyev going to try to challenge the number 30 Honda. Vasilyev, will he make a dive down the inside? This is another part of Tobosu Rainai, but not quite close enough there. Kizaru Leo now up to second place.
Again, still very good progression indeed, like continuing that momentum of the first race. May have still good best amount of the race left, so could have a go at catching Falcon, but Falcon definitely exceeding the margin already, nearly 4 seconds, so it would be a tough ask.
So right now, Raji Kaczynski will be committing to an undercut strategy. He is going to pit this lap. Putifara will come into an undercut strategy, but look at this. Kizaru Leo is going to try to mimic the same strategy that Putifara Kama had done in race 3, where she basically overcut for as long as possible to hold on to the track position for as long as she can. So right now Kizaru Leo is going to try to do what the Romans do, and that Roman is Putifara Kama. Let's see if this strategy will pay off for her.
Yeah, it's definitely a change in strategy compared to the first race. I said that undercut as well, not stretching out this time, so shouldn't face an issue where she pits and gets into traffic, but we'll have to see how this turns out.
Currently Kizaru Leo holding on to second place there. The Porto is still trying to defend very well from Rakhimbayev. Vasilyev is trying to catch Andrew here for basically 5th place. Sergei Petrov holds on to 7th place. Ukrainian registered driver in 7th. Pofumai in 8th. Looking at the first sector there, both drivers matching between each other, Putifara Kama and Kizaru Leo. Let's see how the second sector fares for these two leading drivers here. Cashew still stays at 9, Azad in 10th.
Yes, it's still chaotic in the midfield and at the back as well. Still battles going for the last points paying positions, but Krush Demara Vasilyev is still in 3rd place at the moment, so very good in terms of the championship, but still a long way to go.
Still a long way to go for sure, Callum Gibbons. Because Kaczynski has just gone out of the pits, he's now being scored into the timing tower. Kaczynski has pitted, I believe, from the top 10. And in looking into the second sector, Putifara and Kizaru Leo are still matching each other. 37.5 for both drivers right now. The gap still remains constant for both drivers. Now, the only difference that they have is the strategy that they're going to commit. The next drivers to pit may just as well be Hofumai and Vlasa Domaschnev, maybe. And also Thomas Snooks. They will be the ones committing to the strategy, as well as Andrew Rakhimbayev.
There's already a few committed to that early pit stop. We did see the undercut work well for some people. They were able to, I think if it was one of them pitted early, was able to jump quite a decent chunk of the field. So the undercut's still quite favourable here. Overcut can be quite effective as well if you're able to, manage your tyres effectively. So there isn't really one standout strategy. It's just making sure you can keep those laps going and keep yourself in clear air.
And as it stands, Putifara Kama is only a tenth ahead of Kizuhara Leo, they are the final sector there. We're going to be taking a look into sector 1. They're still matching each other for Farah Kamal and Leo there. Now both of these guys, both of these drivers in the Holo GT3, they are connected to MSU. Farah Kamal is still an MSU student. Kizuhara Leo has graduated from MSU, is looking to have a fine career somewhere. But that's not the topic that we want to talk about right now. But he's one of the Porto trying to catch Callum Gibbons as well. See if he can have a chunk of the points away from him.
Yeah, just 6/10 the margin now, still battling out for the podium. Gibbons not just eking out slightly from Leo. So Leo, I think the gap may have gone down slightly between Leo and Farakama. So Farakama. No, Farakama I think still lapping just a bit. No, that's best lap, so I can't quite see. There's the last lap, so I can read the scoreboard correctly. So last lap, 39.3 for leader, 39.4 for Leo. So Farakama still eking out that gap slightly.
But actually, in sector 2, Kizuhara Leo has gained just a bit to Farakama. Actually, Farakama has slowed down. She is now committing into the pit lane. Kizuhara Leo takes the lead for the first time in Holo GT3 in the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda. The Shiokos are standing up in ovation today as Kizuhara Leo takes the lead over Fuji Farakama, who is now about to pit this lap.
So Leo's leading for the first time. Even if it may not be in that lead, it still counts as leading, so he'll definitely take that. Farakama in the pit stop as well, and Shirato as well. I think Snooks is in as well, so you should expect to see that time and board update as they come in. So a few going for that early undercut.
Undercut strategy is working for some of the drivers here as it stands. Raiji Kaczynski, we want to look into his last lap there. It's not represented right now because he has yet to make another lap. But whatever the case is right now, Raiji Kaczynski, Vladislav Domaschnev, Thomas Snooks, Farakama, they are now in the bottom part of the standings right now, the bottom 5. We are going to be taking a look into Kizuhara Leo's lap times after this. As of right now, Kizuhara Leo is into the chicane. Gibbons holds on to provisional second, the Porto third provisionally. And then there is Rakhimbayev as well, and Vasiliev. Vasiliev and Rakhimbayev actually battling out for actually. Kaczynski uses the undercut strategy to great effect there. Kaczynski has now overtaken Snooks for position. He started 11th, but as it currently stands, we need to take a look into the actual standings right now. Kaczynski is, I think, already in 12th as it stands.
Yeah, so yeah, I was still waiting for the timing board to update, obviously from that glitch as well. So as we look at the actual standings, it said Leo still provisionally at the moment, and I think the Porto going into pits as well. So a few making their pit stops.
More drivers making their pit stops. This is a battle for 3rd, 4th, and maybe 5th here. Kizuhara Leo still holding on to the race lead here. Farah Kamal's gap between her and Leo is only 40 seconds. So the pit stop delta will be in Farah Kamal's favor. As you can see, she is catching up to Leo. Actually, I think this is the interval, so I don't think this is the right graphics to show. This is the right graphics to show right now. 42 seconds separate Kizuhara Leo and Farah Kamal as Gibbons exits the basically the pit lane. Rakhimbayev finally gets to be scored, but of course there is also Vasiliev, who is also yet to be scored right now as he has yet to make a pit stop. Vasiliev is the one who is actually in 3rd place. Petrov is actually 4th. Fumai 5th. Kashio 6th. Santini 7th. Azad 8th. Those are the drivers who are yet to make a pit stop.
Yeah, so still a bit of shuffling around to do again. The timing board's still updating. Farakama still jumping Gibbo in the pits as well. So holding on, I think, to the next second at least. As for Leo, we'll have to see if he can manage those ties and potentially make the overcut work.
And currently, Kashio, Santini, Azad, and Sergei Petrov will be the next drivers to peel into the pit. We're about to start lap 10. Yes, there it is. 4 drivers peeling into the pits right now, with a few more staying out on track. Hofu Mai, Catherine Vasiliev, Mateus Juan de Porto, and Kizuhara Leo holding on to the top 4 spots.
Yeah, still all to play for those top 5 as well. I think the battles were still quite decent as well, so still varies in strategy at the moment. I think Petrov, yeah, Azad Petrov as well. So a bit of a shuffling around.
Here is Petrov in the pit stops, Azad in the pit stops as well. Potifar Kamal is in the main straight. She is going to overtake a lot of these drivers there. The battle between Azad and Petrov will be between Rakhimbayev and Gibbons actually. And actually Gibbons has been overtaken by some of the drivers here. Here's Petrov and exiting the pits. Potifar Kamal has resumed 4th place. Here's Cam Gibbons outside the pits. Let's see if she can make the let's see if he can make the undercut strategy work. And actually, no! Look at this. Oh yeah, he's actually losing out to more of the drivers here just a bit, while he's about to overtake Cashew as well. Here is Cashew. It has still not scored as it stands. Cam Gibbons is now up to. It's hard to tell right now. He's now still in 11th place right now, but has overtaken some drivers who have already pitted. But crucially, he's still behind Rakhimbayev though.
Yeah, so just losing out there, possibly slow out lap or just a poor pit stop or maybe repairing some damage. I don't believe there was any damage to repair, but yeah, not really good stop there.
Hofumai and Mateus Yuan Porto, the next drivers to pit. Here is the Porto representing Tsunamaki Watame peeling into the pits. Hofumai still stays out on the track. As we're about to take a look into the field monitor, he still has one more lap to complete before going to the pit stop, and this is the lap he's going to peel into the pits. As for Captain Vasilia, she takes 2nd place, but for how much longer? Potifara Kamal's gap between her and Leo is only 42 seconds, so it's going to be in Potifara Kamal's favor. And speaking of Potifara Kamal, her last lap was 1:39.494, and is actually, I think, 2/10 slower than Leo. We'll need to take a look into some of the graphics here later on. But as it stands, the Porto has pitted this lap. This battle is with Rakhimbayev and Sergei Petrov. Here is the Porto. Farakamal has overtaken the Porto. Here's Andrew Rakhimbayev on the main straight. Andrew Rakhimbayev will look to overtake the Porto, but the Porto manages to make the overcut strategy work. It's actually the overcut strategy, which is a favorable strategy at the moment there. As Farakamal, I think, is slowing down just a bit against Kizuhara Leo, so there's all to play for here. The overcut strategy might just work here in the cooling down condition here in Fuji.
Yeah, so cooler conditions. Maybe those who are doing the undercut are struggling with tyre warm-up, so that possibly their first couple laps are much slower than those on worn tyres, worn but warm tyres. So maybe the overcut that is favoured for this race.
And currently Santini is battling out with Muhammad Cashew. Cashew is actually the one in 9th place. Azad has now overtaken both of these drivers here. If we're looking at the scoreboard correctly here, Azad I think is in 8th, Cashew is in 9th, Santini is in 10th place, and as it stands right now, almost all it's now Hofumai peeling into the pits, and Catherine Vasilyev I think as well. Yeah, Catherine Vasilyev is has not yet pitted this lap so far. So as it stands right now, Catherine Vasilyev 2nd. Mateus Juan Porto is looking to take that 4th place. Rakhimbayev is going to be back on the podium once again. Here is Potifara Kamal barreling down the straight. Fuma still has his car service. Potifara Kamal still on the main straight, as does Andrew Rakhimbayev. Now the racer is now taking a slightly calmer demeanor there, apart from the race 4 is now much calmer than as it stands. Rakhimbayev now takes 3rd place from Fumai and is about to lose out to the Porto as well. The overcut strategy is not working well for the Fumai as it stands, and is about to be overtaken by Sergei Petrov and possibly Callum Gibbons as well.
Yeah, we're just trying to stick around the outside. Will be Ono's Romotai, so should be able to resume that position if he gets a good exit. Yeah, I think he's just cleared through Mai, so despite that poor pistol, I think he's managed to just control the damage, and crucially, Domaschnev is still outside of the points, so still in that gain in regards to the championship.
Potifara Kamal is gaining to Kizohara Leo by 0.2 of a second in Sector 1 there, 139.492 for Potifara Kamal, 139.552 for Kizohara Leo. So Potifara Kamal is in a way catching up to Leo in the later stages of the race. The overcut strategy may not as well work there. 140.084 for Leo. He has yet to pit this lap. as we're about to see Putrifarakama getting across the third sector here. 37.5 for Putrifarakama to Kizura Leo, 37.8 in the second sector there. Let's see where Putrifarakama has gained in this lap alone.
Yeah, Farakama is still holding pace very well, and Leo just not, I don't think, managing the tyres effectively as Farakama did in the first race. So potentially did sit that straight in the first race, thought, oh, I could do it too, but maybe just not as good at that tyre management, not really keeping up with that pace that Farakama is doing.
Katerina Vasilyev is still yet to pit this lap. Katerina Vasilyev is still holding on to this extreme undercut, overcut strategy here. Katerina Vasilyev holding on to second place Kizuhara Leo. Looking at the last lap there, 139.468, gained 6/10 ahead of Kizuhara Leo. And we're gonna be checking if there will be some kind of problems there for Farakamal. I think there's a bit of a problem there, but right now the problem is not just there at the moment. Farakawa may just as well do a repeat of what Sean Pauli had done, and that is to sweep both races as well. Well, in this case, it's actually a double hat trick there. A pole, a win. Well, on race 3, it was every lap led. But in race 2, it's going to be a pole, win, and fastest lap. And as of right now, Farakawa is really gaining on Kizuhara Leo. 37.6, ahead of Kizuhara Leo is 37.7. 2/10 up on Kizuhara Leo as it stands. Still holding on to that fastest lap so far. So Farakawa is looking to be a clear favorite to win this race.
Yeah, definitely a favorite indeed. I think for this round it's potentially going to be a Honda sweep as well, so definitely buckling the trend of the usual Lexus domination. And speaking of the Lexus, Domaschnev still in the non-points paying position, not really having the round he wanted to defend that championship lead.
And currently as it stands with Gibbons in 6, he will actually build up the championship lead from only 12 points behind to around, I would estimate 50 points ahead. So it's definite momentum for Gibbo's hands. Okay, by 140.081, Deporter 140.019, Katerina Vasilyev 139.689, actually also catching up to Kizuhara Leo as well. They're both on equal strategies as it stands, with Vasilyev going into the slightly earlier strategy here. Here is Domaschnev trying to make a move around the inside of Thomas Snooks for what would be, I think, 11th, or no, 12th place. We're gonna need to take a look into the Limerank as it stands, on where the positions are actually at as it stands. It's a battle for 13th place. Domaschnev now holds on to 13th.
Yeah, but again, still wants to try and get the arrows out, try and get back to the points position, but I think it's a bit long gone potentially at this point, even though we're just over halfway through the race, but there's relatively not that much time left.
As it stands right now, Vasilyev is still outside on the track. Still out on the track, 5 laps, or 5 liters of fuel to go. I think Katerina Vasilyev is going to pit this lap as it stands. As for the live gaps here, not much to think about here. The gap between Vasilyev as of when they cross the line is around 5.6 seconds. Katerina Vasilyev is losing out to Leo just a bit there. Now Farakamal has matching. Actually, I don't think there's anything much left as the track is cooling down to a certain rate of knot here. 139.569 for Farakamal, only gaining marginally to Leo. So obviously Farakamal is eating up those tires more than she should have at the moment. And as it stands, Rakhimbayev is in 3rd place, Deporto 4, Petrov 5th. Not actually, no, Rakhimbayev 4, Deporto 5th, Sergei Petrov 6. We still haven't calculated Vasilyev into the timing tower just yet. And as it stands, Kizuhara Leo, even if he doesn't retake the race to lead, he will be able to score the best finish of the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda, and to score the first podium for the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda.
Obviously, first podium might just feel that it's just short on that win. Like, you know, definitely wanted that win, but obviously not really managing the tyres well enough for that. Not really keeping it with Falcon, who's absolutely dominating this round for Split B.
Yeah, she's doing the Sean Pauli here in, but this time it's in Split B, because Leo is going to be the last driver to hold on into this race lead. With Leo only having 7 laps of field to go, he may continue for 2-3 more laps. Leo having a 22.5 on the first sector, 22.6 on the second sector. There he is gaining just a bit, matching for both drivers here for this one, and I think it's a 45.4 for Kizuhara Leo. And Potifara Kamal is about to cross the line. Kizuhara Leo 40 seconds ahead of Potifara Kamal, but I don't think it will be enough for him to stay in the race lead, but he will have the super fresh tires relative to Farah Kamal, who is about to lose some time. 139.727. So Kizuhara Leo, definitely her tires are fading away as it stands.
Yeah, tires definitely fading away. They will want to look at making that pit stop in the next couple of laps now, try and do that bit of damage control. I think with the gaps, I think second, you can get second pretty comfortably, but doesn't want to get too comfortable with things.
And right now, Sergei Petrov is 6th place, Cal Gibbons 7th, and then actually Hofuma is gaining on both drivers. They're gaining on, gaining on Petrov by 0.2 of a second, gaining on Petrov on the final sector by 1/10 of a second. So definitely watch out for Hofuma, who is actually just 4 to 5 tenths faster. Well, what the case is there, we're looking at Vasilyev. Vasilyev has, I think, exited the track already. Yes, she has exited the track and is now up to 4th place. She's also not scored apparently. So looking at the current scoreboard at the moment there, actually, yes, I'm actually gonna try to double check right now. Rabikimbayev is actually in 3rd place. Vasilyev 4th, Deporto 5th. Sergei Petrov is currently holding on to that 6th place as it stands. Kizuhara Leo has yet to pit this lap. He will be pitting this lap, I assume. The fuel will be reduced down to 3 liters, which it will not be enough for him to complete another lap. So he will be pitting this lap. But of course, the gap between Kizuhara Leo and Potifara Kamal is now edging just ahead of Kizuhara Leo on that last lap. 139.9 for Leo, Potifara Kamal 139.735.
Yeah, we're going to assume in the next lap or so, Farah come on to resume the race lead. Just bear with us as we're having issues with the time board, and we'll keep you updated on the results towards the end once sort of course generates the results. But there's no doubt Farah Kamal is potentially set for another race win here.
Kizuhara Leo is going to take this opportunity at his stride as much as he can. He will be pitting this lap. This will be Kizuhara Leo time to pit. His time in the race lead may just as well be over, but with Farah Kamal's tires slightly fading away with 139.735, it could not be over yet, just maybe.
Yeah, well, also it's not over until the checker flag waves. You know, we've seen, I'm not sure we've seen it that much in Hololive GT3, but we've definitely seen in real life, you know, how leaders get too comfortable with things and then something goes very wrong at the last moment, so it's not over until you cross the finish line.
Farah Kamal is currently holding on to 2nd place here, but she will instantly reassume the race lead. Kizuhara Leo stationary in the pits right now, not making use of the in-lap as much as possible here. Here's Potifara Kamal about to score win number 3 as it stands. Potifara Kamal barreling down into the main straight, about to catch Kizuhara Leo. Kizuhara Leo is still stationary on track. Now Kizuhara Leo gets it moving, but Potifara Kamal has already passed through the pit straight here to retake the champion, to retake the race lead. Here is Potifara Kamal on her way to win her 3rd race of the season in Hololive GT3.
Yeah, still very comfortably. And Leo just not really managing those tires, just losing out there. I think nearly 5 seconds the margin now at the conclusion of the pit stops. And Vasilyev sets the fastest lap, 38.993.
Wow, as we thought that we are going to only look into the 39s. A 38 for Katerin Vasilyev. 22.4 on the first sector, 37.5 on the second sector, 39.0 on the third sector. What an amazing run there from Vasilyev there, and actually Vasilyev is actually under pressure for Vasilyev, who currently has the fastest car at the moment here. Potifara Kamal holding on to that race lead. Kizuhara Leo having the fresher tires, so let's see what Kizuhara Leo can do to catch Farah Kamal unawares in the last few laps, but I don't think there will be enough time, enough laps for Leo to catch Farah Kamal, but the battle for 3rd is still very much alive.
Yeah, I think, you know, despite those fresh tires, you effectively need to catch 2 seconds a lap, and get into the slipstream, like at least on that penultimate or in the final lap, but I think just not enough time. So I think main battle here is going to be that last podium spot.
The last podium spot here, and Rakhimbayev and Katerin Vasilyev battle for third place. Katerin Vasilyev in fourth, and Rakhimbayev in third. Mateus, who won the Porto, in fifth. And right now, Rakhimbayev is losing touch to Katerin Vasilyev, having a very good exit there. Katerin Vasilyev into the final turn, exiting the final turn, having a very good slipstream there. Katerin Vasilyev getting way close there. The number 11 Santa Pecora Honda, obviously having her licenses registered in Spain, so we'll label her as a Spaniard. Down the inside goes the Spaniard into turn one. Let's see if you can make the move stick that she has. The faster car available. Rakhimbayev's pace is losing out, and it's now Katerin Vasilyev taking third place, and Rakhimbayev is going to fight back. Who's going to edge ahead?
Still haven't looked, still a bit side by side there. I think just like force up. Vasilyev has just got it now, so very good indeed.
Very good job there from Vasilyev to retake third place from Andrew Rakhimbayev. We're going to be taking a look at the progress chart. Rakhimbayev only gains actually for one position there. He's now currently in fourth. Obviously, we need to -1 for the positive and the +1, I think, or for the negative. Whatever the case, the progress chart is not doing us much favor here. So we're going to be taking a look into the intervals as it stands right now. And Rakhimbayev is going to lose out to third place to basically Katerin Vasilyev. And for Kizuhara Leo there, Kizuhara Leo sets a faster second sector there to Putifara Kamal, but of course the gap is closing down to 5/10 as it stands. Sorry, 5 seconds as it stands, but I don't think it will be close enough for Leo to actually make the last lap pass on to Leo as it stands.
Yeah, just not enough laps in it, so I think Leo just has to consolidate and just can finish comfortably in second, not really take too many risks here, so still a very much a good result. I can believe the first be his first podium as well, so still a good result nonetheless.
Here is Hofumai on the charge. He's getting way close to Callum Gibbons. Fumai is going to make a move down into the inside of Gibbons for 7th place. This is a battle for 7, by the way, not a battle for 6. Sergei Petrov holds on to 6th place on what I believe to be his best result in Holo GT3 as a driver right now. Callum Gibbons is going to challenge him in the final laps of this race. And the final laps here in Fuji, I believe, this year. Callum Gibbons on the outside, Fumai on the inside. Callum Gibbons will have the inside line into the hairpin, so Callum Gibbons is going to try to hook up the car into the corners. Callum Gibbons will try to hold on to defend 7th place. Make sure he steals more points away from Domaschnev. Domaschnev is still out there, not going to score. Here is some of the remaining drivers here. Santini will be the last of the point scorers here. And yes, Callum Gibbons manages to defend 7th place from Fumai.
Yes, in that favored corner and ability of the Lexus. So Domaschnev, as I said, is not in the points at the moment. I believe he's in 11 now. I think he just overtook Kaczynski just earlier on in the lap, but we saw that gap increasing now to around half a second. So yeah, it should be 11 for him, but still not quite in the points.
Kizuhara Leo is currently catching Farakama, but there won't be enough time. Farakama is about to start lap 21, the penultimate lap of the race here. Kizuhara Leo is catching, but it won't be enough there. Kizuhara Leo 139.365. The gap is now under 5/10 of a second. Rakhimbayev still holding on to 4th place, Porto 5th. To get back to 6th. Here's Fumai making the pass on Callum Gibbons for 7th.
Nissan still using that favoured Nissan shot, I suppose, much closer this time, was able to complete the move earlier on, but Gibbons has not given up, taking a look down the inside, but I think just not close enough there.
Not close enough for Gibbons to make a promo again into Fumai, and it's now Fumai taking 7th place here, tries to get back in the points finally for the number 1 Tokinosora Nissan after some horrible last 2 rounds here. Fumai is now back in contention for points at least. Here's Sergey Petrov. Well, he did score some points in Autopolis race 2, by the way. But after a horrible round 6 in Motegi, where he just doesn't have the pace in both races, and then making that costly mistake of going wide into turn 3 in Motegi and eventually ended up in the gravel, this is a good result nonetheless for Fumai.
Yeah, definitely a good result indeed. A lot of people having different fortunes here, some good, some bad, but definitely a good shuffle around in the field from the usual Lexus domination we'd seen earlier, so it's a good change of pace for everyone.
Currently, we're about to start the final lap of the race. Putri Farakama is about to show to everyone who's the boss once again. We said this with Sean Pauly early on yesterday, where Sean Pauly basically wiped the floor by sweeping the round here in Fuji. This time Honda's really going to flex their muscles. Honda now are about to see the second driver has already seen the third driver to break into the 2 wins mark with 1 car. Now they're going to see 2 cars winning at least 3 races. Mohammed Rizza has won 4 races in the number 3 Wahime Mori Luna Honda. Now obviously he has suffered a DNF that race that unfortunately curtailed his race. As for Putri Farah Kamal, she's about to score her 3rd win actually. Her 3rd win in 6 rounds. That actually rivals Mohammed Rizza's stint from rounds 2, 3, and 4, where he basically won 4 races. So it might be in for something extremely magical here, as Putri Farakama rounds out the final few turns to finish the lap and finish this race for here in race 4 for Split B here in Fuji. Putri Farakama showing everyone. Actually, the Porter Rakimbaya trying to battle for 4th place here. This race is the battle's not over yet. But we're going to be taking a look into Putri Farakama after this. The Porter on the outside, Rakimbaya on the inside. There's contact! And that's Rakimbaya's 4th place over. Putri Farakama. We got Alami and the Yukimi must be proud of this performance once again. Putri Farakama takes win number 3 here in Fuji. Putri Farakama sweeps Fuji. Kizuhara Leo for the first time ever in Holo GT3 in the number 40 Holo in Split B, and for the Murasaki Shion Honda. Finally manages to score on the podium. Catherine Vasilia finishes 3rd, and Matis Juan de Porto manages to defend well from Rakimbayev. Rakimbayev manages to defend barely from Sergei Petrov, who manages to finish 6th. Hofumai 7th, Callum Gibbons 8th, Azad 9th, and Santini rounds out the top 10.
So yeah, very comfortable win for Farakama once again, despite Leo's best efforts to try and catch up towards it and just running out of laps there.
Again, a dominant run here from Putri Farakama to win and sweep Fuji, just like what Sean Pauly did yesterday and what Reza had done in Okayama. But this one is just pure domination. Qualifies on the front row, qualifies on pole for both of them, manages to convert that pole into a race win. And unfortunately, there are still bots spamming in the chat box, even though we said this was subscribers only, so you may want to check in the subscribers list to basically push them away from this channel. But whatever the case is, Putri Farakama is just excited to actually get back in the pits. Whatever the case is, this is one of the most dominant performances we've seen in Holo GT3 yet.
One of the most dominant indeed. I think the irony is that last round we had Lexus domination at our Honda owned track, and now we have Honda domination at a Toyota owned or Lexus owned track. So a bit of a argy-bargy between the 2 manufacturers. Reversal of fortunes
and karma, as we would say. Putri Farakama takes win number 3 in Holo GT3, ahead of Kizuhara Leo, who finally scores his first podium in Split B, and the first time for the number 40 Murasaki Shion Honda. Catherine Vasiliev scores 3rd in the number 11 Sarapikora Honda. Mateus Juan de Porto in the number 3 Tsunamaki Watame Lexus, and Rakimbai in the number 30 Okimimio Honda. Sergei Petrov 6th in the number 5 Nekomata Okayo Nissan. Hofumai number 7 in the number 1 Tokiro Soranesa, back in the points for once. Cal Gibbons number 64 Robocall Lexus in 8th. Azad number 9 in the number 18 Akirose Lexus. Santini number 9 Minata Nissan in 10th. Well, Makashi outside the points once again at 11th. Number 16, Zoro Alexis. Last out, Domaschnev had a tangle with Thomas Nukes early on in the race. Number 19, Akirose Alexis. That's not going to do him any favors. In 12th, Raji Kaczynski. 13th, number 34, Yuzuki Choko Alexis. Thomas Nukes in the 14th. In number 43, Yuzuki Alexis. One was harder for the second time in a row. DNFs in Fuji, so not a good round from him. So we're gonna need to take a look into the replays there to see what actually happened to Wow Suharto. So actually, he did complete a few laps or so. There is actually some kind of contact between him. We're gonna need to review what happened here. Oh yes, this has gone pretty messy here as we're gonna take a look once again. Here is a battle between him and Raji Kaczynski for the bottom 5 places. They were battling for 12th. Suharto is in the 13th into nets, tries to defend from Kaczynski, who wins off track, goes off track. They're still side by side. They've been making contact. There's already damage here at this point, and so Suharto went wide again. Makes the same mistake that he did in the previous race. That's why Suharto's out. So we're gonna need to go on board. Let's see what you can make out of it, Kibo.
Yeah, just not really careful in that section now. Obviously coming to race 1 had that same issue with the suspension and the curbs did not really mix well, and taking a lot of curb in that section, not really doing much for the suspension, and really cutting the corner there, really destabilizing the car, and eventually it seems that the car just absolutely gives out, and that is race done.
A bit of a commiserations there for Wawan Suharto. Hearts out to him for not being able to deliver all that much and then having to deal with incidents. So we're gonna need to get back into the race results. So we have already settled into the race results finally as it stands. But if anyone here wants to basically get a shuffle back once again, here is the top 10, and then here is the bottom 5. So that is basically race done for basically the weekend here. Before we get to the conclusion of this busy week here in Hall GT3, we basically bookend both weeks with 2 races, with 2 rounds of Hall GT3 at once. Catherine Vasilia has been confirmed to take the fastest lap, actually, so it's not exactly a hat trick for Potifara Kamal this time. So we're gonna need to take a look into the championship as it stands. Calum Gibbons 495 points ahead of Alexander Domaschnev, now 24 points ahead of the Japanese registered driver. Mateus Juan de Porto with 426 points. He's now in the top 3. Thomas Nukes now down to 4th in the number 42 Shirobot Alexis. Mateus Juan de Porto really showing that consistency in the car that he's driving right now. Captain Vasilia, Patrick Farakama jumps up a few positions. Vasilia now into 6th. Farakama in basically 7th. Azad now down to 8th. Rahimbayev 9th. Wawasato down to 10th. Sergei Petrov in 11th. Kaczynski 12th. With that podium finish, Kizuhara Leo is now up to 13th. Casio 14th. And Santini now up to 15th. So I'm gonna need to get into a bit of a talk here as it stands. So we'd like to have a lot of support for Holo GT3. We'd like to have support from everyone watching this series so that we can keep this series going and make sure there's motivation to continue the series. And as always, well, we're gonna be tuning off the stream at the moment, and we'd like to thank everyone who make this week quite bearable, like for example Alex Bowen, Cal Gibbons there in both in round 6, and Cal Gibbons back in round 7. Daniel Bolatev sharing his thoughts in the commentary booth as well, as does Miguel Castro, who actually tuned in, who actually went up to do some suggestions for the outlook for the series. We'll be sharing it later on in the season. We'll probably in the season finale at Suzuka. So obviously it's been a wonderful race, it's been a wonderful weekend, it's been a wonderful week of Holo GT3 racing. We hope you enjoy as much as we do, and as always, thank you for tuning into the stream, and also thank you to Calum Gibbons for being with us in the commentary booth up to this point. I'm Muhammad Sanin Reza, and you have been watching the 2022 Hololive GT3 Japan series.